Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to change the pace. Ladies and gentlemen, the Peter Maniatis Team Promotions welcome you back to center ring. Elvis has left the building, but Malcolm Bullner's in center ring. Our World Championship referee, judges Gus Mercurio back from the United States of America. Anika Williams and Andrew Campbell. Your ringside physician, Dr. Peter Lewis. Vern Stewart in charge of the ladies. Brian Membry counting the knockdowns. Norman Liu, Dr. Norman Liu, representing the medical fraternity. Ladies and gentlemen, 8 rounds of boxing for the vacant Victorian Cruiserweight Championship, vacated by Costa Chondros. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing first on my right, occupying the red corner. Born in Oakland, California. Then he moved to Long Beach, California. Then he headed down under to Brunswick, Australia. 32 years of age, wearing royal blue trunks, now under the management of Tommy Altamira and Mario Magris. 3 professional fights, tipping the scales last night at the Yink Hotel at 85 kilograms. Ladies and gentlemen, representing USA and Australia, would you welcome Bobby Bam Bam Patterson. And across the ring in my left, occupying the blue corner from the Knox Boxing Club with Jim Slatter, Paul Layton, and former British champion Ron Russell in the corner. He's a big favourite here at Melbourne. 13 professional fights, 7 wins, 1 draw, 1 technical draw, 4 losses. Ranked by the World of Boxing magazine, number 6 cruiserweight in Australia. Ladies and gentlemen, from Narre Warren in Melbourne's eastern region, wearing black with white, would you welcome Nick Lights Out Lantouris. Malcolm Bullner, 8 rounds of boxing for the vacant Victorian Cruiserweight Championship. Here we go.
Okay, gentlemen, welcome to center ring. Good luck to both the fighters. May the best man win. Big remember shake hands here in like the last round. Okay, go back to the corners or come out of the bed.
Well, where are we at? Is that sort of a catchweight area? A hybrid weight, I call it, Steve. Oh, very well defined, Robert. Without a shadow of a doubt, the hybrid area, the scales. Well, Nick Lantouris has a huge following in this auditorium here, Steve, and the crowd are right behind him. He's a real hometown favourite, this fellow. He certainly is, Lantouris. Now, Lantouris is a fairly straight up and down man. He concentrates very well, but Patterson has capabilities at both ends of the scale. He can be explosive, or he can get blown out of the water very early, depending on where he's at. He had a loss at the World Conference Centre, Convention Centre back in May on a Curcio promotion, Bobby Patterson. That's right, he did too. Knocked down. That night he had the white tassel trunks on, and this time he's gone for more basic navy blue, very highly raised around the chest region there, the upper stomach region, around the pancreas area. I think he took on Adrian Stack here a few months ago too, didn't he, Steve? Was it Stack and Patterson? I can't remember. I think it was. Yes, that's right. Yes. And that, but now, Lantouris. Oh, and Patterson lifts Lantouris up, Lantouris to a punch. And Malcolm Bullner there, a wry smile. He did, didn't he? The face of Malcolm Bullner there. I thought we were going to see a bit of Highland log throwing there for a minute, but caber throwing it is, Steve. That's right. It's a piece of wood, isn't it? All due respect. So whichever way you want to look at it, it comes down to the... Well, certainly isn't a wrestling bout. Malcolm Bullner told the boys so. Well, did he ever? No uncertain terms, Malcolm. Now, great referee. One of Australia's most experienced international referees. Refereed almost 40 world title fights, I think, hasn't he, Steve? Certainly has. A slapping right hand there to the body by Lantouris, a bit below that belt, but that belt's very high on Patterson's rib cage there, that belt. Yeah, he seems to have his protector in an unusual way, doesn't he, Steve? Yes, seems to be, everything seems to be a little bit out of kilter there, but... yeah, it's how appropriate, kilts and cobras. That's right. Now, Lantouris there now, there's going to be a lot of sort of whacking away at the Patterson belly region and just above and below that belt there because that belt's so high up. But look at Lantouris' concentration. It's extraordinary. He does not take his eyes off Patterson. The intensity is just copybook. It is. Well, he's always been a good man to with the concentration skills, Lantouris, he always looking out for danger, and a very solid performer, Nick Lantouris, over a period of 3 or 4 years in professional ranks.
He always, not only does he concentrate, but he's really efficient when he gets an opening there. That's what he's looking for.
Yes, it certainly is. And now, again, the boys grapple there. Patterson tried to come in with a flurry, but Lantouris saw him coming. He telegraphed those punches then, Patterson, and Lantouris tied him up.
Far too obvious, wasn't it?
It was. And Lantouris had no hesitation in tying him up.
That's right.
Patterson over the top of the right hand missed. And now comes in, he was going to throw a punch and then actually ran into Lantouris because he kept moving forward, didn't throw any leather in the finish and got into a tangle.
He did indeed.
And that Lantouris again concentrating, he's trying to work away with the left jab and then worked underneath. Patterson looking at the referee saying, I don't like that. But the boys pushed each other away. Malcolm again concentrating, and Bakes gets them, they weren't even together. And a very scrappy first round between these boys.
How would you have scored that, Steve?
Well, look, Patterson was made errors. He missed, punched and missed and changed his mind on some occasions, and Lantouris stood back. So all you can do basically in a round like that, Robert, is to even it up, I'd say, and that's where we're at.
I think that's fairly accurate, Stephen. It was very early in the piece, and bear in mind this is an 8-round event, and the boys were just easing into it. As we were discussing before in the context of Alex Moon, it really is an 8-round strategy that has to be carefully thought out here, and in the early part of an 8-round bout, you'll just take your time, measure it out, don't do anything too hasty or rash. That's what both the lads are doing.
No doubt about that, Robert. And let's see. I think I've got a feeling this fight will start to motor up pretty quickly from now on. These boys won't have the patience to scrap. Oh, Patterson, whoa, a little bit of the old 1-2 there, the Fred Astaire 2-step there, Robert, for a minute there, Patterson.
Well, he was foxing, Stephen. He was trying to lure Lantouris in.
Oh, yeah, very tricky manoeuvres there from Patterson. Was trying to lure Lantouris into doing something that he would have regretted, I think.
He was foxing, Stephen.
Yes, he appears to be a proponent of that art form there when he does that, Patterson, no doubt about that. Probably needs to, look, probably really at this stage of his career needs to have a big victory on the board. He hasn't had a significant victory for some time, and he really needs to step up a bit now with his career, because he's been around now for a while.
Oh, yes.
Now Lantouris now trying to move in underneath, but Patterson had the gloves, the forearms there close in, and Lantouris again moving underneath, raising the belt to higher up the body of Patterson.
Patterson's defence was very good in that, to that extent, Stephen. You're quite right. The way he keeps the gloves up, anticipates where any punches might come from, and has his gloves protecting him accordingly.
Yep, certainly does. He's probably, from that point of view, both fighters are relatively defensive in their tactical manoeuvres, Robert, aren't they? Yeah,
they are, yes. Well, obviously at this stage of the bout, no one's going to take any unnecessary risks. It's got a long way to go.
Just as you said that, of course, Patterson's opened up with a right cross, which would have knocked the flag off the Queen Mary if it had landed. Was that a bit of trouble there in the around the ring area there, a bit of noise around there. I don't know what that was.
Probably just a flare or a table falling over, Stephen. We wouldn't have any.
Some clown in the audience seems to have some sort of cracker device there which came off then, but let's hope that's no problems. The security men are moving around that area to see what was going on, and they're having a word to a clown who's wearing a T-shirt, so let's hope they can sort that out.
Well, the fight's in the ring, Stephen, and that's the important thing. We want to bear that out
in mind, yes.
The two lads now seem to be just it's getting a bit of a scrappy affair at this stage. There haven't been too many definitive punches. There haven't been too many combinations. There hasn't been not too much of the sweet science to date. But
listen, so you've got to remember, Bobby Patterson's fought most of his boxing, I think, as a heavy, I think.
He has, yeah.
A lot heavier weight than this, and so if he's taken weight off, he did get a low punch there around the groinal region there, Patterson, but he's fought a lot of his boxing in the heavyweight division, and the lack of body weight, do you think, Robert, might have some effect? You don't know, do you? Lantouris is better suited to this weight.
Yeah, no doubt Lantouris is a more natural cruiser, that's right. You come down a division, it can be very difficult. You go back to the the early 70s, Stephen, when some of the light heavies used to go down to the middleweight division. Remember Dick Tiger from Biafra and Emil Griffith and Bob Foster, who used to interchange between the weights, but you could quite noticeably see the difference. Correct, yeah, that's right.
Archie Moore, for instance, I think fought in about 6 or 7 different divisions throughout his career, Robert.
Well, Dick, that's right, he was probably the most versatile of them all. I was a great fan of Dick Tiger, who regularly did both middleweight and light heavyweight, and would take on Emil Griffith or Bob Foster at Madison Square Garden that way, time and time again.
Yes, I was just, while you were talking there, Robert, I was waving at Stan Longinides, the 8 times world heavyweight kickboxing champion, who has just recently completed acting in a Victorian-based film, Trojan Warrior.
That's right. I hear that was quite an exciting film. Stephen Dermot Brereton, I think, was in that too, wasn't he?
Yes, there was a big array of local people in there, and certainly going well. Good to see people in the martial arts sports are being able to transpose their skills into the acting sphere and get people into the cinema as well as the boxing veneer. It just puts more into the... Oh! And Patterson there, falling on top of Lantouris there as the boys went to ground. Lantouris wouldn't quite let go, but he was lucky Patterson didn't land with the knees on the upper chest region, Robert. Would have caused winding.
Oh, it could have unsettled him. Patterson doing a bit of fancy dancing now.
Oh, again there, he's gone for the a little bit of the Fred Astaire, as I call it.
Yep, the 2-step shuffle.
Oh, and that's what you do. Once you're in there, you can use those tactics to try and offset your opponent, catch them off foot somewhat.
Well, referee Malcolm Bullner would have none of it, and he was right onto any of those antics.
Hands up, come on, hands up.
Nothing wrong, Robert, with trying to catch your opponent off foot if you get the opportunity, though.
You're sounding like Mr. Football, the late Teddy Whitten there, Stephen.
And there goes Lantouris working away. Beautiful jabs from Lantouris, some of which came through. Patterson with a wry grin.
A couple of them hit the belly quite well. Working overtime on that belly then, Lantouris.
Beautiful boxing that from Nick Lantouris.
Yeah.
A beautiful move. He used the ring well. He moved around. When he did throw the punches, he kept moving and was able to still strike the mark. So
got a nice combination in on the belly of Patterson.
And that this fight's crying out for someone to take a bit of authority here now. There's no doubt about that, Robert.
It's time for one of them to assert it. You're quite right.
The slight low punch there from Lantouris, I think, hit the leg of Patterson then.
You notice Lantouris' corner have been repeatedly yelling at him in the last minute or two to keep the hands up. It's interesting, Stephen, if you look at the position of Lantouris' gloves.
Oh, yes, dangerous because Patterson is a big hitter.
Well, he only needs to get one in at the wrong spot.
Oh, yes, well, I think Scotty Brower used to say you're only one punch away from destruction in boxing.
It's so true, Stephen. Oh, my goodness, yes.
I'm talking about Mr. Brower. I don't think he's here tonight.
Well, he's now on the boxing control board, of course.
Yes, yeah, that's what I mean. He's not officiating here tonight, Scott, but he's a person who's putting a lot of time into boxing. He trains boxers. He's on the board and had an almighty majestic career as a lightweight, featherweight boxer through the ranks.
A great ambassador for the sport, Scott Brower.
Oh, yes, he was. And Patterson coming through, high, wide and handsome with the left.
Charging through there.
And that telegraphed that to a certain degree. You could see him coming like the proverbial Southern Aurora then, Patterson. And
that is a problem with his whole style, Stephen. It's far too obvious. His opponent can always sum up what he's likely to do and can often be waiting for it, and he walks right into mayhem. And he's got to shroud or mask his tactics a little more in a more sophisticated way.
Yeah, he does need to do that. He fights a bit, probably sometimes seems to think of himself as a bit of a veteran, I think, and he gets that wry grin on his face when someone manages to throw in a scoring punch. But I think he needs to perhaps think a bit more highly of himself and to go in just a little bit harder there and back himself with his punches.
The other thing I think he unwisely at times tends to initiate plays and he walks into trouble where he might be better advised to change his tactics and do the foxing himself and lure Lantouris in by running a bit more like a thief, going backwards and getting Lantouris off foot or unprepared, and that's often when you can get your opponent to walk into a punch, and I don't think that Patterson has done that anywhere near as well as Lantouris. Lantouris' tactics have been the better of the two thus far, Stephen.
Yes, no doubt about that. The tactics from the Lantouris corner have been exempt for the majority of the fight, although the first 2 rounds were scrappy. I did give that round to Lantouris because he put more thought into his boxing technique in that round. His movement was good. The jabs were very good. They were the scoring punches.
Yes, no doubt about that.
Tied Patterson up on numerous occasions, and Patterson now attempting to change his boxing stance and style, trying to crouch, or trying to stalk Lantouris to a certain degree and move with him. I really do think he's got to concentrate on punching power, Bobby Patterson, a bit more and try and use some of the power that he does have.
Obviously, his corner have had a talk to him in the break between rounds and told him he's not going to win it the way he's doing it.
He won't, Patterson. He will need to change tactics. He does have to throw more leather. You might notice in the first 3 rounds of this fight, Bobby hasn't been able to strike Lantouris with much leather. It's
negligible punches at all, Stephen. It's been a very scrappy affair from his perspective. He had very few effective punches thrown by him whatsoever.
See, Nick's really taking his fight up to Patterson. He's saying, well, this is how I'm making the fight from the style I'm fighting at this point.
He is dictating the terms. He gets an opening and he goes in there with a useful combination that do get the scores, the scoring punches. A fresh air shot from Patterson, wasting a lot of energy on that. An uppercut from Lantouris.
And welcoming here to ringside is our fantastic welterweight champion there, Julian Holland. Good to see you, Julian. How are you?
I'm very well, thanks, Steve. And what a good night.
It is a fantastic night, isn't it? And we'll just get you keyed in there so we can hear your dulcet tones and your expert comments there. And so far, Robert and I have been commentating on the what we'd say a bit of lack of activity there by Bobby Patterson. He needs to hit a bit harder, needs to mix his moves and punch a bit more. This Lantouris to a certain degree is dictating the terms, isn't he?
Yeah, Lantouris, he's just that type of fighter. And he's just jabbing around, he's scoring points, and he's just making him miss at the right time. So I think the other guy's getting a little bit frustrated.
Yeah, he certainly is, Bobby. Bobby's tried to change his stance a few times, not to any avail, though. That's, big right hand from Bobby. This is where I said if he could punch a bit harder, he might get somewhere with Lantouris, but he does have to put pressure on, physical pressure.
He definitely hurt him with that shot. But, it looks like Nick's got his
looks like
together.
A bit of a cut on the left cheek of Nick, just below
the... That was a good shot, yeah.
Mouse coming forward.
Mouse or a cut, Steve. My eyesight's
no blood there. No blood forming. It's
definitely a mouse. Definitely a mouse. Yeah.
But really, after that shot, what Bobby needs to do is just really cut him off.
Yeah.
Throw him into the corner and just start punishing him.
Going on with the business.
He's just letting him off, I think, a bit.
He is far too easily.
Yes, he certainly is. He's got to try and cramp Lantouris up a little bit too and stop that movement, that ring movement. He's got to box him in and use his strength.
Yeah, that was a good round.
And that's a big problem. Now, Julian, how are you travelling at the moment? You've been doing a fair bit of work in the gym, I believe, down at the Underworld there with Mr. Ray Giles. Is that correct?
Yes, I have, Steve. And I've been training hard. This is my first fight back. It's big time promotions at Festival Hall. Looking forward to it. I can't wait. It's
well, the House of Stoush, Julian. It's the true home of boxing. I remember as a young lad going to TV ringside and the Friday night fights there. It's a rich tradition of boxing, and I know you'll have a ball there. Now, who are you up against, Julian, for our viewers?
I'm fighting a guy called Joy Ali. He's a bit of a puncher. He's from Fiji, and I'm going to have to keep my chin down.
Yeah, he's a good boy. We've seen him. I've commentated him.
But look, I've got to get back. I've got to get back in the world ratings, and these guys like that, I've just got to take straight out of there. So that's what I'm looking to do.
How many fights has Ali had, Julian?
I think he's had about 17.
Yeah, very fairly seasoned campaigner then, isn't he? Yeah.
As far as you're concerned at the moment, Julian, who are you after Joy Ali? Say we hope you get past Joy.
Yes.
What's the next move after that? Anything in mind if that works out okay for you?
We'll be looking to try and fight for the OPBF title.
Good on you.
Oh, excellent. That's outstanding, Julian.
Get back up in the top 10 and away we go.
That'd be great to see. That'd be fantastic.
Well, Nick Lantouris came in with a very nice combination there, including an uppercut against Bobby, which slowed him down a bit.
No doubt about that, and now all swung wide, high and handsome there. That he was off balance then, Lantouris. He did get caught off foot in that occasion there, and he didn't land that punch on Patterson with the left hand. Bobby Patterson with a bandage now on his back. I don't know what that's from. I haven't received any medical opinion on why that's there, but
that's his back hitter glove, Steve.
Yeah, I don't know. That could be something else. I'm not too sure. But
one of these wrestling manoeuvres have gone awry.
Yeah,
I think with this fight too, with Bobby Patterson, he likes to box and move. He's a good fluent fighter, and I think it's making it a little bit hard because that's the way Nick fights. Nick fights around box, so it's a little bit of contrasting styles. Where Bobby has to change now and force the fight hard.
Yeah, that's right. Well, the Malcolm Bullen has just lost that bandage off his back there, Bobby Patterson. No blood there or anything. Must have been a scratch, but we don't know the medical reason for that. We can't make guesses.
I can see bits of it on the ring apron next to it.
Lovely body shot then from Bobby.
It was, wasn't it?
Yes. And the boys now in a tangle. Malcolm Bullen, he'll split them up here. Lantouris, well, he often gets that mouse starting under that part on both eyes normally.
That's because his left hand's very low.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
We've noticed his corner, Julian, all night have been yelling at him to keep the gloves up.
It is an unusual style, Julian. Look, I just know that you know, in boxing, I think that probably that you think you should change that style, keep the hands up a bit more.
Well, it's hard when you have a style that you've had all your career basically to change. You know? And if it works for you, well then you've got to really stay with it.
Yeah, it might work for him, but imagine if Patterson does get connects there, and he'll be all gone. It'll be the head will be sent to the rafters. You know, and that's the last thing you want to see.
You can certainly see the contrast in styles there, Julian, can't you? Where Bobby does keep his gloves up a lot higher than Nick, doesn't he?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Now the corner again there, right next to us here at ringside there, yelling for Nick to put the gloves up a bit more. Oh, the uppercut, the right hand. Well, you know, when it is low, I suppose you can get the shoulder power into that uppercut from there, Julian, can't you?
Oh, yeah. Bend those legs and bring it up.
Too right.
Yeah, driving through from the back of the heels, Julian.
That's where all the power comes from. So.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, my word.
But, you know, Bobby sort of seems to be doing better when he's forcing the pressure a little bit more, but he steps back and then Nick just outboxes him.
Yeah,
that's right.
No doubt about that.
When he forces the pressure, that's when he's winning the round.
He's always done better if he's gone, as you say, on the front foot there, Julian, and dictated the terms.
Yeah.
And he hasn't done that enough tonight to really assert his authority on the fight, has he?
No, he hasn't, no doubt about that. But still, you know, Lantouris should probably say is he seems to be in front. To put it simply, just doing enough to keep in front. Patterson just can't seem to take that next step. Do you think that Bobby sometimes seems to think of himself already as a sort of a bit of a veteran, sort of? He's got to go the next step. How can he get the next step, Julie? What can he do to go that next level? Is there anything he can do?
Well, that's just up to the way he wants to fight, I suppose. And, you know, like, I think, see, that's where, again, what I was saying before with the contrast of styles. Like, Bobby likes to be flashing and move around, and it's not really suiting someone that does the same thing. So he has to change to be a forcey fighter, and it's not, you know, like he's not used to doing that. You have to work on it in the gym before you can change it in the fight.
Yep, no, that's a good point there. Bobby's a little bit more inconsistent in his career. He often he's been prone to either, you know, banging someone up or he gets banged up. You know, there doesn't seem to be much there. This is a very more consistent fight for him.
Yeah. Oh, he's doing a great job.
Oh, no doubt about that. He seems to have come out this round with a lot more purpose, hasn't he?
Yeah, yeah. That's what he's got to do. He's got to step across him, cut him off, shorten him up.
Yep, yes.
Set the agenda, that's right.
Yeah.
That's the thing now. That's very important.
With a fighter like Nick, start from the body, work up.
That's right. Yeah, get the odd blow or two that stuns him or slows him down, creates an opening that you can exploit. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, he needs to get a bit more body work around the Lantouris rib cage, I think. See if he can give the short ribs a bit of a going over.
Or if he can get him in a corner or on the ropes where he can let a few go. That'll unsettle him and then capitalise on that.
And mix it up a little bit. You know, a couple of punches towards the solar plexus, a couple around the rib cage. Work upstairs, go down, just mix it up a bit and try and not get into tangles like we're in at the moment where we...
Yeah, and that's like, see, that's sort of Nick's fight. You know, like Nick will stand there, he'll be watching for that right hand. He knows that's going to come, so he'll get under that every time. Basically, then hold you. And that's the way he fights.
He does. No, he certainly does. And,
something I've noticed with Nick right through the bout, he's had that ability frequently to anticipate what Bobby's going to dish out. And he's ready for it and takes the appropriate evasive measure.
No doubt about that.
Tell us, Julian, we were commenting earlier on about Patterson having boxed, of course, at the heavyweight division. Do you think coming down a weight division would have much of an effect on him?
I think it's better for him.
Yeah.
I think he definitely looks better at this weight. I think he looks quite good. You know, when they're fighting heavyweight, they're giving away probably, you know, 10, 15 kilos.
Yeah. Oh, yes. This way gets to fight men in about roughly his own size now, doesn't he? As opposed to a bigger heavyweight like a Tommy Hammer or someone of that ilk who was a better part of 110 kilos.
That Auckland guy that he fought.
Yeah, that's right. Clay Ortagamui, who we were talking about just the other night at the when we were working at our awards at the Victorian Boxing Trainers League.
That's right.
Yes. Premises of Hank Stanley the other night. Yes.
Champion.
He was indeed. Still is.
The vocal as always. Yes.
Making comments about your physical appearance, Steve.
That's right. Well, he was quite surprised because I haven't seen him for about a year, and indicated to him that my training with Rain Mako at the Pump Gymnasium has been working very well for me. It's taken a lot of body fat out of my physique, and
giving you a little bit more stamina, Steve.
Oh, here we go. A couple of nice uppercuts to the belly from Nick Lantouris, working on Bobby Patterson while we were talking there.
Yes.
Quite effective.
Very effective.
Another good round.
It was, wasn't it?
Nick's still doing just enough. You know, with the scoring shots. They're not hard shots. They're just scoring. They're annoying scoring shots, really. But they're taking the points, and that's where Bobby's. You know, from now I feel he really has to up the work rate.
Yes.
Start having him off, working him in there, hitting him hard.
Bobby now probably has to get a bit explosive now. He's got to take a few risks.
Yeah. How did you score that round, Stephen?
I actually evened that one out. I just couldn't really split them there, but I've got Lantouris about 3 points up overall over a 6-round situation. I've got Lantouris 60-57 Patterson, and I think that'll be pretty close to what the judges have got. Given the way the scoring's been done here tonight and given the way that fight's going.
Following on with what you were saying, Julian, it's obvious that Bobby Patterson's really going to have to turn it up a ratchet or two, isn't it?
Definitely. When you're this far behind in a fight, then, as Steve was saying, you've got to start taking risks.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, because you run out of rounds otherwise. We saw it earlier on when Ben Smullen took a little bit of time to get going, and we saw it again when the other boy, McFadden, nearly had to motor home. You know, when you've got 4 or 5 rounds, you've really got to step on the mark from the word go. You've got to keep the time, the judge's clock sticking over, the point system's ticking over. Now Patterson can he make an impression here? He must take the fight here right up to Lantouris to have any chance of success here.
I think he's being a bit too cautious now.
And that Lantouris now, he won't take a risk. He doesn't have to, really, because he probably knows he's 2 or 3 points up, maybe depending on which judge has got it. But, now nice slapping punch there, the rib cage. That always a sting. Yeah, it makes you sting. And Patterson trying to work downstairs there, but not much avail there. Oh, nicely moved there by Patterson there. A quick move of the head. Just got out of the way of that blow.
So you've got to do something after it.
Well, that's right. He's got to back up. He's a nice move out the way, but you need to follow up with, a nice punch coming in to keep the judges ticking over with the points. It's very important.
I don't think he's landed a punch at all this round to speak of so far.
Well, he hasn't. He's got to get more aggressive here. Patterson's protector's very high, Julian. And
I think his trunks have fallen down. The protector's where it was at the start, but the trunks have got a bit of brewer's droop in the back there, Steve.
Well, look, I think he started off, those trunks seemed to be in an unusual position to start off with. They were well and truly nearly up around his
armpits.
Well, that's right. I mean, there's only so much of the body you can protect, isn't there?
Lantouris going.
He made him miss then and threw a nice short right hand, which was
it's a good call there, Julian.
And those trunks that Patterson have gone on, he'd go yachting in, I'd say, or some other pursuit. But the protector's in probably the correct position. The trunks have slipped. And a lot of fighters, Julian, don't like to have the elastic band around the belly anyway. They prefer it over the protector, don't they?
Yeah.
And that for reasons for what breathing and blood supply.
I think it comes down to look. fighters are all vain, Steve.
Well, what Patterson's got there at the moment ain't exactly going to do much in the fashion stakes, I don't think at all, with that all showing. But,
Nice right hand again.
He's not as elegantly groomed as Jimmy Cheetah, Steve.
He is the Grovedale fashion plate, Jimmy Cheetah, no doubt.
Well, along with the other notable of Grovedale, Gary Ablett.
And, yes.
Another round for Nick.
Yes, I don't think there's any doubt about that, is there, Julian?
And he's
Nick's round.
He's just not making an impression here, Patterson. He's on my card 4 points behind. It's going to be very difficult for him, no doubt about that.
Patterson barely got a scoring punch in at all, though, if any, that round, Julian. I thought he just got far too hesitant, didn't he?
Yeah, we started making him miss, but, you know, like, you've got to do something after that. You've got to make him pay.
You would more than likely say that if Lantouris had been more aggressive there and had probably taken a couple more risks himself to get a few punches, and he would have nearly made it a 10-8 because of Patterson's inactivity. But 10-9's probably the way it goes then.
I think that's how it had to be called, Steve.
Yes. No doubt about that. Now, we've seen the tragic situation. Dallas Costello, Julian, to see him now. He's here tonight. He looks to be okay.
Yeah, well, Dallas has got a new name now, Emmanuel Stewart. Emmanuel Stewart. He's
now a trainer, is he?
Well, he's now a matchmaker for big-time promotions, and basically he doesn't even talk to me anymore. Is that good?
He's got the suit on, has he? He's got the suit and the tie.
No, he's going great. Yeah, it's good to see him going good too.
No, that's good to
He
hear.
was a fantastic fighter.
Oh, magnificent.
His career got cut short, and
no doubt about that.
It's just a tragedy.
The last time we were here, we watched him in that great bout with Brendan Batty that went the distance, and that was a fantastic bout, one of the more memorable ones this year.
In fact, there's a nomination, that fight for Fight of the Year. It was under the nominations, it was.
And they just got...
But even still,
well, we can't give a result, Robert, as they're confidential as we know at the moment, but it was nominated.
I was about to say he got pipped at the post. I wasn't about to breach any confidence, Steve. Bit of wrestling going on there from these two, but they're back into it.
Bobby's just got to cut him off now.
That's right.
Bobby has to throw some very hard leather very quickly here. He's got a minute and a half to do something. And Lantouris now being sent to the neutral corner. There is a problem. Oh, yes. Is it the shoelace or the belt? The belt's in all sorts of trouble at the back. In fact, becoming loose there. In fact, he had a good chance of losing the protector as well as the trunks. Shoelaces on it. Although Malcolm Bullner did redress Patterson then with his attire.
The flagging trunks were attended to, gentlemen.
And that, Patterson again, a bit of a goose step or a moonwalk there from Patterson to try and shake up Lantouris, but didn't seem to be fazed by it at all, gentlemen.
A bit of foxing, I think, Steve.
I mean, that's
Well, you know, I think...
looks good earlier on in a fight, but gee whiz, at this time of the night when you've got to score points to try and win a fight, that's not going to get young Bob anywhere there, I don't think.
No, it's not the way to do it, is it?
Well, you know, there's nothing wrong with it, but I think, you know, he might think naturally that he's actually in front.
Oh, dear.
So,
I felt though when he was engaging in those antics, Julian, it wasn't for any purpose. It just sort of danced around without trying to lure Lantouris in or...
Well, that was the purpose, Robert, to try and catch him off foot and to see if he'll drop his guard a bit and to move the wrong way.
I liked it.
Because if you if you zig when you should zag, you can end up on the floor in this level of competition.
We all know that.
Was it zig or zag who's discredited these days, Stephen?
I'm not going into that.
Right.
So, that was the right hand that it's taken 8 rounds for Bobby to find that over-the-top right hand, which he's renowned for.
That was the idea, yes.
And unfortunately missed for him. Oh, Lantouris with some thumping body shots. Oh, and Lantouris now has decided to up the tempo. Very smart boxing from Lantouris. He wasn't happy with that savage over the top right that Patterson threw, because if it had a strike, he would have driven his head in the canvas. So he thought, well, look, if you're going to throw heavy artillery at me, I'm going to respond.
Boy, he let fly, didn't he, Stephen?
He certainly did.
That's what he had to do.
That's right, my word.
And that's the sort of situation.
I feel Bobby should have flown back at him with a combination himself.
Yep.
He had an opportunity in that sort of spray of punches from Nick to pop one in, and he didn't. As you say, Julian, he let a good opportunity.
was thrown after the bell from these boys there.
Bullner warning them to cut that out.
They're right.
Okay, I think there's a little bit of grandstanding going on here, but there's nothing in it. I mean, Lantouris, I don't think, he was already into a punch when the bell went, and Patterson just got a little bit carried away with it. I think it made no difference, really. There was no need for anyone to get aggravated there.
Nick's not too happy about it.
No, he's not. He did, didn't he? Yes, my word.
Well, he thought that Patterson following up on a mistake was unnecessary, because Patterson took the view, oh, that was deliberate, you know, and it wasn't. I mean, Lantouris, he follows the rules and regulations. He's never been known to be a fighter to try and besmirch the rules, Robert or Julian.
Oh, absolutely not. He's a man of the utmost integrity, Steve.
Oh, if you can get away with it, you know. You've got to have a crack.
Sounds like a football club or two, we know, doesn't it, Steve?
It's right, gee whiz, this week, I guess it's been a big week in sport. There's been people in a bit of bother and clubs, and oh boy.
Especially my club.
Oh, you're a Carlton man, Julian, eh? Well, yes, well, they've got their problems, and it just goes to show, and this is one of the issues that I do discuss on Sport 927, on Sport and the Law, during the week, on my night-time program, do half an hour per week, is these very issues about following the rules.
They're there for.
Well, I remember a certain football club president saying there are no rules.
20 years ago, yes. But whether or not you could come out and say that sort of thing now, though. Here's King James in the ring. He's going to hand the trophy out. Howard Lee coming over. Yeah, right here.
Yes, just here. Corner. On the corner.
Okay, we welcome the National Fitness Advisor, Steve Penn, the skinny man, Rainmaker. Good evening to you, Rainmaker.
The glamour.
My word. Done a wonderful job on Stephen here. He's a ball of muscle these days.
Yes, so it's very important for people to do resistance training if they want to talk about physical fitness and boxing. Julian, I might say that down at Pumped in South Melbourne, where Rain trains myself amongst other people, and there are other people down there who we'll talk about that in a minute. Howard Lee is giving the scorecards there. Ken James in the ring with the belt.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have unanimity. All three judges see eye to eye. Judge Henry Campbell, 79-73. Gus McCurry on the same card, 79-73. Judge Andy Williams, the final card, 80-72. Ladies and gentlemen, would you congratulate the new Victorian Cruiserweight Champion, Nick Lantouris. Nick, you've had some good moments here, some bad ones, but tonight you go home with your first professional championship belt. Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks. Mate, I've been working so hard with this fight, mate. For 3 years in the making. Actually, this week I copped the cut on the eye, and you know, I was very wary of not getting hit as much. But yeah, I've done enough to win, so yeah. Yeah, I'd like to thank Ronnie Russell for being there for me. He's been there for 2 years in the making, and good work, mate. All my corner man, my support.